Thank you for joining us. You're watching a career success video from Computer Coach. Computer Coach is a Tampa-based computer training center specializing in helping IT and business professionals add on the skills they need to reach their desired career goals. If you are job searching, in transition, or are looking for guidance, please feel free to reach out to us at www.computercoach.com. Now, let's get started.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Suzanne Ricci. I am the Chief Success Officer at Computer Coach, where we provide a variety of certification preparation courses, technical boot camps, and upskilling and continuing education courses for IT and business professionals. One of my favorite things to do in my job is run these Tuesday job search strategy webinars. And today we're going to be talking about how to get past the applicant tracking system. I do have Cassandra Perez, our Senior Career Strategist at Computer Coach, with us today. She will be in the chat answering any questions. I also have Danielle Ori, our Director of Career Services, with us as well. And she will also be helping out to answer questions in the chat. And then all three of us will be here at the end of the presentation where we can do an open Q&A as well. So again, thank you all for joining. Feel free, drop your LinkedIns into the chat. One of the best ways, or I should say one of the best strategies to finding a job is through your friends, your family, and your network. So let's connect and grow those networks. So today we're going to discuss getting past the applicant tracking system. So let's start with what is an applicant tracking system. Applicant tracking systems are a software that is designed to manage and automate the recruiting and hiring process for companies. Applicant tracking systems allow HR professionals to track candidates all the way through the hiring process. The point behind creating applicant tracking systems was really twofold. One, to automate and to ensure that everyone was going through the same process. And the second step, or the second reason for applicant tracking systems, was to speed up the process. Going through large organizations and getting hired at one point was a very long process. But it's really important to understand that nowadays, it is not just large companies using applicant tracking systems. It is very rare to find an organization that is not using an applicant tracking system, regardless of its size. If you are applying online for jobs, you can assume you are going through an applicant tracking system, unless the application or the job description says, email your resume here. I have seen some job descriptions that will say, fill out this Google form before submitting your application. Well, those are not going to be applicant tracking systems if you're going through a Google form. However, for the most part, organizations that are accepting online applications are using applicant tracking systems. Even if they're using Indeed or one of the job boards, they still have applicant tracking systems because all of those job boards have applicant tracking systems built into them. So if the organization doesn't have its own ATS, as we call it, then you can use the job board's ATS to help you filter through all of the applications. It's important to understand why applicant tracking systems exist. On average, 250 to 300 people apply online for every job posted. That is a whole lot of individuals. Now, for your more tailored specific jobs, it's obviously not going to be that many. Again, we're talking about, on average. For talent acquisition professionals or recruiters to have to sift through 300 resumes for one open job description when they may have 10 jobs that they're trying to fill, that's a very taxing assignment. That could take a lot of time to sift through all of those resumes. So the point behind the applicant tracking system was to speed up and try to help move the process along. Applicant tracking systems generally are looking at three different things when you submit your resume into an applicant tracking system. They are looking at formatting, they're looking at the words that are on your resume, and they're looking at how do those words match up to the job description. So now that we've covered what is an applicant tracking system, why we're using these things, let's get to how do we get past them. because that's what we're all here for. So tip number one, and you will hear me say this almost every single Tuesday, every single time I'm teaching a job search strategy webinar, this tip comes up. I am passionate about it. If you want to get past the applicant tracking system, you should avoid the applicant tracking system. Now you're probably sitting there going, Suzanne, I have to apply online. Everybody's applying online. That's the way you apply. Yes, but there are ways to avoid the applicant tracking system. I call them backdoor approaches. And those backdoor approaches are going to work so much better for you than just applying straight online with no referrals, not knowing somebody in the organization, etc. Why? You have less than a 4% chance of landing a job if you are just spitting out your resume into all of these applicant tracking systems. You have a less than 4% chance of landing a job. It is said statistically that only 25% of resumes that even get submitted into an applicant tracking system get human eyeballs on them. Why? Because applicant tracking systems automatically filter candidates into qualified and unqualified categories. And that is all based on matching your resume with job descriptions and some other things that go into it, which we're going to talk about today. So if you can avoid the applicant tracking system, please avoid the applicant tracking system. So how do you do that? Well, one, find your passion and find your purpose. What is it that you are passionate about? Start looking for jobs that reflect your experience and your passion. Create a targeted list of employers. Now, a targeted list of employers is not an in concrete document. This is a document that you find a new employer that you go, you know what, I would really love them. I didn't even actually consider working at Publix, but I would actually really enjoy working at Publix. Well, you can then add Publix to your list of targeted employers. Depending on the level of job that you're looking for and the industry that you're in, like say you are a CIO working in sustainable energy, well, you're probably not going to have 20 companies that could be on your targeted list because it's a supply and demand type of situation. How many CIO positions are there in sustainable energy at the time that you're looking for an opportunity? Now, if you are a project manager, which there are more project management roles than CIO roles, well, then maybe you have a list of 20, 25 employers. There's no right or wrong answer, but having a list of targeted employers allows you to go in what I call backdoor approaches. You can ask your network for referrals into the organization. When you are out networking, you can talk to people and try to find events that maybe the targeted company that you are targeting that week, maybe they're sponsoring an event and they're going to have employees at this particular event. Maybe you can start networking on LinkedIn with individuals that work in the organization and they can refer you to the hiring manager. By having a targeted list of employers, it allows you to optimize your resume for that company, for the roles within that company, and allows you to ask your friends, your family, your network for referrals. In the recruiting industry, referrals are golden. Every talent acquisition professional, every recruiter loves referrals. So when we're looking to create a targeted list of employers, you really want to make sure that you are doing a deep dive into what are you looking for? What is important for you? The size of the company, for example. Do you want to work in a very large company or a small company? Do you want to work in a startup? Do you want to work in a public, government, private company? What type of culture is important for you? Are you looking for remote working opportunities? These particular things to consider are really important because you want to make sure that you're finding a good fit for you. There's no sense in taking a job and then hating it and having to do all these steps all over again in 90 days. Different ways to find targeted companies, your friends and your family and your network. Start talking to individuals in your network. Maybe you have some friends that are always bragging about how great their company is or they love working for their company. Well, maybe now we start asking them, hey, what do you like about your company? Checking out what type of roles are available in the company. Your local business journals. I love using the business journals for learning about different companies that you may be interested in. The business journal for a job seeker gives us so much information. It tells us what new companies are coming, what companies are leaving, who's acquiring more square footage in real estate. Well, if they're adding on 30,000 square feet in real estate, Well, maybe they're growing. If they're giving up 30,000 square feet in real estate, maybe they're moving to remote, or maybe they are downsizing. But it allows us as job seekers to have access to this information, and we can then do further research to see, is this a company that I'd like to target? The local business journals also give you ways to reach out to individuals. So let's say Publix has their senior talent acquisition professional is named as one of the 40 under 40s in the Tampa Bay Business Journal. Well, now you have something to make a customized LinkedIn message to this individual. You can send them a customized message that says, congratulations on being named one of Tampa Bay Business Journal's 40 under 40. That's a tremendous accomplishment. They're going to respond back with thank you. And now you have a way to start a conversation with this individual, as compared to just sending a generic inbox message that says, hi, I'm looking for a job and I noticed Publix was hiring. So using your business journal as a resource of information to find companies and to really know what's going on in your local market. Career transition groups. I love career transition groups. Those are essentially, we also call them job search support groups. But when you have organizations like this Tuesday, actually every Tuesday we come together and it kind of acts as a career transition group. Some career transition groups are more formalized than this, where you actually get to interact with others within the group. You can network. Some of them are in person. What I love about career transition groups is it's always great to have a job search buddy or buddies, because it gives you more eyeballs on the market. So maybe I don't know about a new startup that's coming in, but someone in my career transition group does learn about them. And they say, hey, you know, Suzanne, this new company is a fintech company and they're starting up in Tampa, and I thought that you would be interested in them. So it's another way to have a lot of eyeballs on the market. Job fairs are great for getting in front of organizations. Now, remember, at job fairs, most companies send their recruiters or their talent acquisition professionals. And remember, those individuals have worked at other organizations in TA and in staffing and in recruiting as well. They may still have friends in organizations that you want to work in. I was hosting a panel discussion one Tuesday, and somebody dropped into the chat, I have an interview at Amazon tomorrow. Does anybody have information about the interview process? And one of the panelists responded with, I used to be a recruiter at Amazon. Let's connect after. And so there's all different great types of ways that you can gain information and meet new people and get referrals at job fairs. After the workshop, take a minute, jot down everything that's important for you, your family. What are the traits that you're looking for in a company, in a job, so that you can really start tailoring your job search and creating a targeted list of employers that will work for you. Now, again, that list can expand. You can take companies off the list. It's okay. But at least having a list gives you some focused opportunities so that you're not just blindly applying online rapidly. Now, I know we came today to figure out how to get past the applicant tracking system, because I know, although having a targeted list of employers is incredibly important, I also know you're going to apply to jobs online, and that's okay. It is a job search strategy that everybody uses, and it's almost a necessity in your job search. So I have a ranking of jobs. I rank jobs on A, B, and C quality. A quality is a job that I look at and I get really excited and I say, you know what, this is a job for me. You want to call one of your significant others so that you can tell them about, the job that you just saw and how perfect it is. Or a C job is a job that I look at and I go, nah, that job's okay. I mean, I'd take that job. It's within my salary expectation, but it's not my dream job. But you know what? I mean, maybe it's good enough for now. A B job is somewhere in between. A B job, they can be a B plus job, a B minus job, but a B job falls between A and C. Why we use these job rankings is because customizing your resume to get past the applicant tracking system, our customers will tell us for A jobs, they easily spend an hour to an hour and a half customizing their resume, applying online, looking for referrals into the organization, and that's a whole lot of time. So an A job, you're going to go all in and you're going to do all the things that we're about to talk about. You're going to look for referrals. You're going to reach out on LinkedIn, see if you can find anyone that you know. You're going to customize your resume from scratch to meet the job description. A C job, you can use more of your generic resume that you're just going to input a few things in and then off it goes. B, again, subjective. You got to figure out what's the right amount of time for you. So I always love the idea of having a generic resume. Now, the days of having one resume that you use for all job submissions are long gone. You really do need to tailor your resume, but having a generic resume that reflects your experience accurately and what you are qualified to do makes it easier to tailor that generic resume very fast for those C type of jobs. When it comes to applicant tracking system friendly resumes, here's the format on the screen that I like. I always get asked that every single time I do this webinar. Do you have a format? And yes, this is the format I like. We start with a title line in the resume. So you see where it says cybersecurity engineer, and then the little vertical bar, systems architect, and then the vertical bar, team leader. I like to have job titles that you are qualified for across the top. That is because when individuals are reading your resume, generally they're spending 6 seconds to see if they're going to spend more time on your resume. And that tells them right away what you're looking for. It also allows you to exact match the job description's job title in your resume every single time. So you can take that generic resume and you can add in the exact job title from the job description in that title line. Then we move on to having a professional summary, your skills or areas of expertise, any certifications if you're technical, your technical skills, and then your professional experience. One of the things that I love to use in building generic resumes is the LinkedIn Premium Skills section. So if you do have LinkedIn Premium, you can look at 10 to 15 jobs that you're really looking for. And then if you scroll down in the job descriptions, it tells you the skills for those particular jobs. You can actually copy those skills into an Excel spreadsheet, look at all 10 to 15 jobs, make 10 to 15 columns in your Excel spreadsheet, and then sort the data. Now you have a list of the skills that are in demand for the roles that you're looking at. So now you know what to put in your skills section, of course, if you have those skills. I am assuming you are applying for jobs that you are qualified for. This will really help you with two things. One, to see if you have any skills deficiencies. Let's say all of a sudden you're applying for help desk jobs and you notice that 10 of the 12 jobs you looked at are requiring Python, but maybe you don't know Python. Well, now's your opportunity to figure out how are we going to learn Python? Because obviously Python is an in-demand skill for the jobs that you're looking at. So one, it allows you to see if you have any skills deficiencies. And two, it allows you a very quick way to know what skills do I put on my skills section, of course, as long as you have those skills. So we talked about tip one being avoid the applicant tracking system, creating a generic resume, finding the skills that you need to put on your resume. But now let's talk about if you are applying online or if you're applying for those A jobs or those B jobs and you want to customize your resume, what are we going to do? Up next, you want to customize your resume and you want to have certain items in your resume that exact match the job description. So for example, the job title. I just showed you in the job title line of the resume format that I really like. You can exact match the job title from the job description. If you can exact match the job title in one of your previous experience sections, that is also very helpful. You want to exact match keywords. So if they are looking for certain skills as you're reading the full job description, that's very important, then you can actually pick out what skills are important and what skills do I have and exact match those in the skills section or in your professional summary or in your experience. You want to spell out acronyms, but you also want to use acronyms. And this is really important for my certification holders. So let's say you have a PMP. You can put your first and last name, comma, PMP on the top of your resume so that PMP is there as the acronym in your resume. And then maybe underneath your education section, you actually spell out project management professional. The reason why is because we don't really know if a talent acquisition professional or recruiter is going to go into the ATS and they're going to search. Certifications or acronyms are very easy to search by, but we don't know if they're going to search with the acronym or spell it out. One thing you can look at is exact matching it, however it is in the job description. The job description is key to getting past the applicant tracking system. Now, as job seekers, it's important that you read the full job description. Most of the time when I ask people, what part of a job description do you read first? All the time I hear, oh, I skip right down to the required section. What are the requirements of the job? Well, you really need to read the entire job description, because remember, we talked about when we first got on together, applicant tracking systems, there's 3 key aspects of it. And one of them is matching the words in your resume to the actual job description. So the job description is key. You still want to make sure you're spell checking. You want to make sure you're giving your resume to somebody to read and asking the question, what do you think I'm qualified to do from this resume? You can also do this in some of the AI tools. So we teach a webinar also on ChatGPT and how you can use ChatGPT in each section of the job seeker journey that we use at Computer Coach. And in that particular webinar, we go over how you can drop your resume into ChatGPT and ask it to critique your resume, or ask it what jobs you seem qualified for by having it read your resume. That's really important, because that can help us know if our resume is articulating what it is that we want and are qualified to do. Last tip here, as far as customizing your resume for each job that you're applying for, is please no keyword stuffing. If you don't know what keyword stuffing is, that is perfect. Don't start doing it. Don't look up what it is. You don't need to know it. If you are keyword stuffing, please don't. The applicant tracking systems can read. Here's the thing with applicant tracking systems. Some of them are multi-million-dollar installations. Others are free. Some of them are highly intelligent. Some of them, not so much. But because we don't always know what applicant tracking system we're going into, we need to make sure that we're deferring to the lowest of them. And that means that we don't want to keyword stuff. We don't want to put keywords on a resume in white so that it matches the background color, because the applicant tracking system is just reading words. It doesn't matter what color the font is. So please, no keyword stuffing. Some of the modern applicant tracking systems, they can factor in your keyword match to the job description, and you can instantly go to the unqualified category if you're too close of a match. Like if you're matching the job, copying and pasting the whole job description into your resume. You don't want to do anything like that. So here's a quick visual of where we're going to exact match the job title. I know a few people just logged in. So if you have the job title from the job description, it goes right there in that job title line. And then you can add in keywords into your professional summary, into your areas of experience, as well as in your professional experience section. Now, when we are keyword matching, this is actually really important. If the job description says responsible for recruiting, selecting, oriented training, scheduling, and disciplining, my customized resume would say responsible for recruiting, selecting, oriented training, scheduling, and disciplining 100 plus employees over a 1-year period, thus improving the company's retention rate to 98%. Now, notice I took what was in the job description and I customized it with achievements for my experience. Now, you want to make sure whatever achievements you use, they are valid, they are yours. You really want to make sure that you are not lying on your resume. What my resume would not say is responsible for recruitment, selection, orienting, because recruiting and recruitment may not be the same thing to all ATSs. Now, some ATSs do have the ability to process that. Some do not. And again, because we don't always know, we want to make sure that we are looking out for what is in our best interest. It does take some wordsmithing to be able to pull this off, but now you can also use ChatGPT to help you out, or any of the AI tools of choice. So tip 3, your resume formatting should really be simple. Now, this is really important. When you are creating a resume that you are going to apply online with, one that you are going to submit for jobs online, you do not have through the website, through a job board, you don't have an email address that you're emailing the resume to, you are strictly submitting online. Your resume needs to be very simple. I say it needs to be so simple that you don't have to, but you could create your resume in Notepad. That means you're using space as your friend, you're using circle bullets, You are underlining, bolding, you're keeping things very, very simple. No fancy text boxes, no tables for skills, no fancy bullets. Now is not the time to show off your wingding skills. We want to make sure we are just using black circles on our resume. No columns. You do want to use a sans serif font because that is better for reading online as compared to a serif font. Sans serif fonts are going to be like Arial or Calibri. A serif font is the most popular, is generally Times New Roman. You don't want to use pictures on your resume, no borders, and no fonts that are smaller than 11. Now, I get asked all the time, how long should my resume be? And the answer is your resume should be long enough to articulate that you are qualified for the role that you're applying for. Individuals in the recruiting process love one-page resumes if it articulates that you have all of the skills needed for the jobs that you're applying for. If you can do that in one page, great. If not, no more than 1,000 words. No more than 1,000 words, should be approximately 2 pages. We say no smaller than an 11-point font because some ATSs are still using older technology like OCR. And so if it's smaller than 11, it may blur together and it may not be able to actually read what is on your resume. And if it's smaller than 11, the recruiter may have a hard time reading it. And honestly, recruiters aren't going to spend a lot of time trying to read your resume. If it's not easy for them, they're going to move on. No red flags is what we always say. You can keep a fancy, pretty copy of your resume for the live interview if you are having in-person interviews, or you can email a pretty copy of your resume. So I always suggest that we have an applicant tracking system friendly resume and then what I call the pretty resume. So what we have on the screen with a big red mark through it is what I call pretty resumes. These are absolutely not applicant tracking system friendly. You do not want to use these particular types of resume formats. A lot of these resume formats come from resume templates. And you want to make sure that you're not using one of these if you are applying online because it has way too much formatting. Now, if you choose to use this format for your pretty one, I mean, we could have a different conversation about it. I still think simple is better. However, if you have the ability to email somebody, then something like this may work. Here again is a copy of a simple resume that works for applicant tracking systems, and it's really easy for recruiters to read. And that's ultimately what they like. People ask me all the time, Suzanne, what type of resume should I use? And I always say the most simple, because recruiters, they read resumes a lot throughout the day. If you give them the same format that they're used to reading, well, then they'll be able to find the information that they're looking for. If you decide to go and do something like what we have here on the screen with the skills on the right and these little blue boxes, they may not know where to find the skills. Here's some more examples of relatively simple resumes. You could do both of these resumes in Notepad if you had to. You can use tab, so you're not using columns. You could use tab. You could use your bullets are there. You can use underline. You can use white space. You can use bold, all very easy to create. Tip 4, when it comes to our headings, make sure your contact information is on your resume. Don't put your contact information in a header or a footer. Some applicant tracking systems don't read information in the headers or the footers. So make sure that you have the right information, and please check and make sure that your phone number is correct. I always tell everybody to give their resume to somebody and let them call the number that is on the resume. You would be surprised at how many resumes I get with the wrong phone number or the wrong email. My other tip for this is if you are applying for jobs, make sure you are either one, answering your phone, which I know nobody answers their phone anymore. I get that, but if you're looking for a job, you need to answer your phone. And 2, at the very least, you're checking your voicemail. When it comes to your section headings, use common words. Don't get fancy. Don't, even in a fancy creative field, don't get fancy. Keep it very, very simple. Use a professional summary. Please, no career objectives. Very important. Tip 5. In your experience section, it doesn't matter if you start with the title or the company. That's a choice. Whichever is more comfortable for you, you can use. Just make sure you're consistent. So if you start with your job title in your most recent experience, well, then the experience after that, please make sure you have your job title as well first. Keep it the same format. So job title, company, city, state, and then when you worked there. Either way, make sure that it is consistent and easy to read. In the second example on the screen here, we have the company first, then the job title, and then the location, and then the dates. Now, you don't need to put location. You are going to need to put dates. People ask me all the time, is there a proper date format? The 2-month, 4-year format seems to work the best, but whatever you're comfortable with, but that is the one that I recommend to our customers. Other things for your experience section. You can use bullets if you'd like. Make sure you add in achievements anywhere possible. Now, achievements aren't necessarily a tip for the applicant tracking system, but we are talking about writing resumes, so I do feel like I need to bring this up. Companies want to see achievements. They want to see what can they expect that you will be able to accomplish if given the role. So add in achievements. Adding keywords into the experience section, match the job description if you can, and then as we talked about earlier, match the job title if you can as well. Tip 6, when you're applying online, you'll often come to, most of the time after you've filled out the entire application. I wish they would be in the beginning, but they put them generally at the end for most applicant tracking systems that I've seen and that I've applied through and things. They are called knockout questions. There's a series of questions at the end that they ask you. How much experience do you have with blank? Do you have a MBA? Yes or no? You need to take these questions serious. They are called knockout questions because they are designed to eliminate you from the pool. If you don't answer them, you are automatically eliminated from the qualified category. So if you don't answer the knockout questions or you put C resume or something crazy like that, you'll instantly go to the unqualified column. So you do need to take them serious. You have to answer them honestly. And so set your expectations realistically. I get asked all the time, Suzanne, I read a job description. It says I must have a master's degree, but I don't have a master's degree, but I am so qualified for this position. I believe you. But if there's a knockout question that says, do you have a master's degree? And your answer is no, your expectation should be you are not going to hear back from this job with this job strategy. Now, you can use a backdoor approach. Maybe they are open to having somebody with more experience that doesn't have a master's degree. But if the knockout question says, do you have a master's degree? And the job description says, must have a master's degree, and you put no, then you're going to go to the unqualified category. But if you can find a backdoor into the company through a friend, a family, somebody in your network, if you can meet somebody within the organization out and about networking, if you can engage with the organization on LinkedIn and make a connection and build a rapport, those are all alternative job search strategies that you can use to have a conversation with somebody about this particular role and your qualifications. But if applying online is your only method, the knockout questions are there to eliminate you from the applicant pool. Tip 7, the format you should submit in. Another question I get asked all the time. What format should I use? Well, when you're applying through applicant tracking systems, some of them have instructions. So you do want to read the instructions and you want to see what format does it tell me to submit in. If it tells me to submit in PDF, then submit in PDF. If it tells you to upload a Word doc, then upload a Word doc. If it tells you to upload either, well, then whatever you're comfortable with will work. My preferred is the Word doc. .doc. That is just my preferred. However, it seems to be more cross-compatible. I do know that some applicant tracking systems don't read PDFs, and I know some rather large staffing companies, their applicant tracking systems don't allow PDFs. So your resume will not get parsed if you send a PDF. However, reading the instructions is the most important thing. .doc is my preferred, but if the instructions say something else, please follow the instructions. Here are some examples of applicant tracking system friendly resumes. This is a very pretty resume, very easy to read. The only thing is I would add in that job title line to this particular resume. Some other tips. Make sure you are optimizing your LinkedIn. 84% of recruiters use LinkedIn to find candidates. 93% of recruiters use LinkedIn to vet candidates. So what does that mean? Once they see your resume or they get your application, you're in that 25%. You have human eyeballs. That's great. Congratulations. Now they're going to jump over to your LinkedIn and see, does it match? Does it go? LinkedIn is not your resume. LinkedIn is your ability to showcase who you are as a professional. So use it to your full ability. Make sure you are posting about what's going on in your industry, sharing stories, commenting, following thought leaders in your industry. All of this tells your professional brand and it tells a story on who you are. So make sure you're using LinkedIn because it is one of the most powerful job search tools that is out there. Make sure you're also adding on new skills if you are in a job transition because it shows that you're committed to growth. It tells employers that you value yourself. It also allows you to, when asked in an interview, what have you been doing since your last role? It allows you to give the answer, oh, I've been updating my skills in X, Y, and Z so I can be a better asset to the next organization I joined, which is the answer that they want to hear. They don't want to know that you are working on your basketball skills and that you have a great free throw shot now. They want to know that you are upgrading your skills, you are being productive, and you are ready to hit the ground running. We do have some resources available. If you are interested, they are free. You do not need to be a Computer Coach customer. Just reach out to Cassandra Perez, who is on the webinar with us. You can hit her through chat and just ask her. We have an applicant tracking system workbook that you can work through. We have a white paper on writing resumes that work. We have a resume skills checklist, and we have a document which is 50 different job search tips so that you can see what types of strategies are out there. And then we have our Tuesday webinars where you can come back every Tuesday. We teach a variety of job search strategies, a different strategy every Tuesday. We have a rotation that we go through, and we would love to see you every Tuesday. We also at Computer Coach run a guest speaker series on Thursdays and Fridays where we bring in individuals from the industry, some of them on career strategies, job search strategies, some of them on hot tech and business topics that are out there so that we can all grow together, improving our skills. If you are in the Tampa Bay area, there are training grants available that can cover 100% of the cost for you to upskill. So at Computer Coach, we are an authorized provider for many training grants in our area. If you are thinking about adding on some skills, reach out to us, either myself, Cassandra Perez, Danielle Ori is here as well. We would love to set up a free career strategy session for you where we can talk about where have you been, where do you want to go, and we can see if our program will help you. If it will, great. We would love for you to be our customer. If it won't help you, that is okay too. We still want to see you back on our webinars, our networking events that we run if you're in the Tampa Bay area, and we still want to be friends. So if you are interested in a free career strategy session, reach out to Cassandra Perez, myself, Danielle. We're happy to set that up for you. Now, the best way to find out about the different events and opportunities that we have going on is to scan this QR code and follow us on Eventbrite. We post all of our Tuesday workshops that are free and open to the public on our Eventbrite. Our Thursday and Friday guest speaker series, also free, open to the public, all online, so you can be anywhere in America and see the webinars. They are also posted on Eventbrite. And then we host quite a few in-person networking and skill development events in Tampa Bay at a variety of different locations. And you can find those also on Eventbrite. If it is free and open to the public, it is on our Eventbrite. So scan the QR code, follow us there. Also, if you are interested in, learning more about different job search strategies, career success tips, more about the IT industry, go ahead and scan the QR code and you can follow Computer Coach on LinkedIn. Scanning this QR code should take you straight to our LinkedIn page where you can just follow us. With that, connect with me, please. So here's my email. I am Suzanne@computercoach.com. I dropped my LinkedIn into the chat, but I will do that again. And if you're on Twitter, I'm @SuzanneRicci.
To learn more about our training programs, classes, and what sets us apart, please visit our website at www.computercoach.com.